overall goal, the overall idea is to keep my spending quotient down, which actually, here, let me show you. If I go to Starcraft II replays, it's a really cool website. It brings up basically a lot of data from your play. So you can upload your replays and it'll extrapolate a lot of data for you, a lot of interesting data for you. So I can upload files. So let me see, grab everything like this. Open. So I'm loading up all these different replays. And then it says here, heads up, your account has 11 Starcraft II replays that have not been parsed. They will be processed shortly, and when they are finished, they will appear in your profile. So right now it's taking these replays and just extrapolating all the data. So the data that you would be getting would be as follows, right? So it gives you charts here. You can look at different charts for all your data, and these are charts that I set up. When you first arrive on this screen, they'll give you a lot of other data, which is really cool and important, you know. But I feel like this data that I have it set up is more important to me and you know, to what I want. So what's important to me is the spending quotient. Spending quotient is just a number that tells how good you are at spending your money and keeping your money low. So spending money. So in other words, another way that number helps you is if I'm spending my money, right, and my spending quotient is high, then that means that I'm spending my money. I'm building structures, I'm getting upgrades, I'm building units, I'm building workers. So I'm keeping my money low, meaning my spending quotient is high. So here I have the average spending quotient, and this is not taking into account the 11 replays I just uploaded. Let me refresh, see if they're up already. Okay, they're up. So that message is not here anymore, meaning that they're up already. So I can filter here, and this is just a different account over here, Ajire Gallina, which we just ate today, that my wife made. It's really good, Ajire Gallina. Thank you for making food today. So my spending quotient, so here it is. So this is a chart that charts out my spending quotient average for the last 30 days, day by day. So day by day, it'll take whatever days that I have replays on, and it'll put those days down, and it'll give me the data. So the spending quotient average was 94 on 8th of March. And then here it goes down. And here's my spending quotient. And this is an average. So average in the last 30 days. So if I want to see last 90 days, so I'm kind of evening out over here. Kind of evening out over here in the 90s, it looks like. 90, 97, 95, kind of evening out. So that's pretty cool. I'm not mad at that. So last 30 days, my average spending quotient. Next, this is the most recent replay information. So it gives you the player's name, and you can adjust all of this. You can adjust all of this information. You can put different charts here. You can customize this how you want, and you can customize it to show you the data that you want. That's what this is. So here is the most recent replay. This is PvP, player number 1, player number 2, the player's MMR at the time. This I could take off. I don't really worry about MMR. I don't really worry about. This is all the default information actually. I can actually get rid of this, which I'm gonna do it now. So let me show you actually. General. So you can take a look at your APM, average unspent resources. These are the different data points that you can look at. Resources lost, blah blah blah. Like all this, a lot of cool stuff. It's really cool. I'm not interested in any of it, so I'm just gonna delete it here. Right? So I deleted all this, and if I close it, you'll see that this updates. So all I'm showing now is the player name and the race, right? And that's what I have here, player name and the race, right? So after the player name and the race, what else do I want to see? Okay, cool. Average unspent resources. I want to see average unspent resources. Average screens per minute, server, spending quotient. Here we go. Spending quotient. And then supply block. Okay. This is what's important to me. Okay. Unspent resources on average, spending quotient, and whether I'm supply blocked or not. Okay. And so you have that here. So now this is what I'm looking at, right? So now check it out. So it shows me player name, the race, and average unspent resources, spending quotient, and supply block. Okay. I'm not exactly sure what the unit is for supply block. I'm not 100% sure of that. I'm assuming it's seconds. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me. Yeah. But so here's that information, and then what I can do is rearrange it. So player name, player race. For me, I want the spending quotient first, and then I want to know my average unspent resources, and then I want to know how much time I was supply blocked. Here we go. So this is what's important to me. All right, my spending quotient, and then average unspent resources, supply block. So average unspent resources is 441, and he was at 617. So to me, that's good. I want to have, on average, less unspent resources than my opponent. It just means that I'm spending more money than he is, which you can see here. The spending quotient is higher, meaning I'm spending more money. I'm spending more minerals and gas and all that. Supply block. So lower number here means I'm supply blocked less amount of time than my opponent, who was 64. So that to me is good. So I'm cool. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna leave this chart as it is like that. And you just saw me edit it, so you can add more stuff, and you can add individual. Oh, excuse me, that's all it is. Never mind. So, cool. So that's that. And then here, this is like more information. So I played 79 games in total, and this will filter depending on your accounts. This is a Korean account. This is my US account. Let's see, so 79 games total. This is my win-loss ratio, my 46 and 33, 46 wins, 33 losses. So that's a positive KD. I'm at 58.23 win-loss ratio. So here's my spending quotient on average. It's at 93, which is cool. I'm trying to get as close to 100 as I can. Basically the highest number I can possible. I want my spending quotient as high as possible. Right now it's at 93. And my last recorded average is at 95. Cool. My spending quotient on average, though, out of all of these games is 93, so it's not bad. My supply block time average, 40. So I'm assuming 40 seconds. Gonna assume 40 seconds. My unspent resources on average is 822 on average, throughout all these 79 games. So this is pretty high, but you have to account for the fact that when you have longer games, throughout the longer games, the more bank you're going to have. So obviously your unspent resources is going to be higher in a longer game as opposed to a shorter game, 4-minute, 5-minute game where you're constantly, spending on units because you're losing them and you're making them because you're fighting and blah, blah, blah. So, but in a longer game, you're kind of holding back. You have two giant armies. You don't want to attack right then and there. So you're going to be at 200 supply, and just banking a lot of money with 5 different expansions and blah, 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 So of course you're going to have more unspent resources in a longer game than you are in a shorter game. But that's what this is. And then here we have 3 other charts, and this is for my spending quotient average on the last 30 days, which is kind of similar to this. My supply block time average in the last 30 days, day by day, or I can put it by month. So here's March to April. So my supply block time average went up. We want this to go down. But yeah, so that's gone up. And then my unspent resources average has gone up. It went from 436 to 922, and it's gone up. We want both of these to go down, to trend downwards, and we want this to trend upwards. Right now, it was at 97, 95, so it's trending down a little bit. If we put it by month, we can see it's actually trending upwards. So not too bad. That's what we want for that one. Here's my spending quotient. Here's the minimum. So here's what I have on this one. This is the minimum, my minimum spending quotient. So so we want my minimums to go up. Right now it's trending up. The last 30 days. Let's see for the current year, I'm trending upwards. Right? I'm trending upwards. Here's January 2021, February, March, April. So we're trending upwards. So that's cool. That's good. In the last 90 days and month, I'm trending upwards. Cool. So that's the kind of stuff that you can look at. It's kind of an overall picture, you know. We're gonna keep this at a 90-day view like this, like that. I'm gonna save that right there. And then these are charts broken down by different matches. So matchup, PvP, 26 games. Out of those 26 games, 15 were won, 11 were lost. That gives me a 57, 0.69, 0.69, KD, win-loss ratio. And then this is something I like to look at also. Opponent spending, their spending quotient average, 79. And here's my spending quotient average. So I just want mine to be higher. That's really all I'm looking for. I just want mine to be higher. So this breaks these things down per matchup. Here's PvP, PvT, PvZ. So against Protoss, I played 26 games. I won 15 of them. I lost 11 of them. My spending quotient average of my opponents is 79 minus 91. My Protoss opponents has been 79 minus 91. Opponent supply block time. So look, I've been supply blocked more often than my Protoss opponents. Let's see, opponent unspent resources, we're about at the same. Against Terrans, I played 29 games, but negative KD over here, 48. Damn Terrans, I'm telling you. So their spending quotient is lower than mine. I'm happy. Supply block. I'm supply blocked much less than they are, so that's cool. Unspent resources, they've got more unspent resources than me, so I'm cool. PvZ, damn, my PvZ ratio is pretty crazy. I'm at 70 KD ratio. So my spending quotient is higher than theirs, that's cool. My supply block time is, man, almost the same. 1300 for both, but they're just a little bit, supply block just a little bit longer than I am. But still, like compared to my other matchups, this is a lot of supply block time. Unspent resources on average, it's kind of similar, but I have just a little bit more. And then these are just visual bar chart. This is a visual bar chart of this information. Instead of just numbers, it's just visually like, okay, my spending quotient on average, here's the opponent spending quotient, here's mine. So I always want these green bars higher than these blue bars, which is good. So right now it's good. On the last 30 days, here's the last 30 days, my supply block time, I want mine to be lower than theirs. So right here, this is not good. I'm supply blocked more often than Terrans here. Supply blocked less time than my Terran. Did I say Terran over here? But you know what I mean, right? And then the same thing for unspent resources. I want these to be lower. Here's a little bit higher. Here's almost the same. Here's lower. Right. So it gives you really cool data. And then you can look at individual replays. If we look at, I think this is our last one. And then you can look at information on each game that you played. So it gives you the timestamp and all that, the 10-minute game. It's really interesting. I think I'll go over this page at another time because you can break down a lot of stuff on this page too. But that's pretty dope. So that's what I like to do with the replays and whatnot. Make sure I'm trending upwards. That's how I like to break down my data. So let's do some verses.